Students, this is a second session. Already మనం ఫస్ట్ సెషన్లో జనరల్ ఎస్ఏ TGPSC గురించి ఒక ఎస్ఏ చూసాము. సెక్యూరిటీ అండ్ రోల్ ఆఫ్ జెండర్ పే గ్యాప్, హౌ ఇట్ ఈస్ ప్రమోటింగ్ ది ఉమెన్ ఎంపవర్మెంట్. దిస్ ఈస్ as a part of overall aspect of the topic 1 of the general essay, that is contemporary social issues, social challenges discussion lo manam first security and gender pay gap and its role in women empowerment chusamu. So danlone second aspect in regard to social issues, social challenges lo manam okati topic తీసుకుందాము. Contemporary social issues and ఛాలెంజెస్లో మనకి ఈ సోషల్ ఇష్యూస్ ఛాలెంజెస్లో యూ కెన్ ఆల్సో అండర్స్టాండ్ దట్ అర్బనైజేషన్, డెవలప్మెంట్ అండ్ ఇట్స్ రిలేటెడ్ టు డిస్ప్లేస్మెంట్, ఎన్విరాన్మెంటల్ డిగ్రేడేషన్ and the overall aspect of sustainable development. సో మనకి టాపిక్లో కాంటెంపరీ సోషల్ ఇష్యూస్, సోషల్ ఛాలెంజెస్లో there are certain topics like urbanization, development, displacement, environmental degradation and its overall connection to sustainable development. ఆ కాంటెక్స్లో ఆల్రెడీ in Hyderabad we are seeing issues regarding lake conservation, hydra and other aspects. What are the aspects that are there in regard to lake conservation? Already hydra is taking many steps in regard to lake conservation, preservation, etc. So ee context lo oka question ravadaniki possibility, probability undi manaki exam lo. Aa context lo we have taken one question, that is how do urban water bodies contribute to the issue of sustainable urban development and environmental conservation. So basic question enti ante, how do urban water bodies, urban water bodies, how they will help you in realizing sustainable urban development and environmental conservation. సో అర్థం చేసుకోవడానికి ట్రై చేయండి. ఈ క్వశ్చన్ ఏంటి అంటే మనకి ఈ అర్బన్ వాటర్ బాడీస్, హౌ దీస్ అర్బన్ వాటర్ బాడీస్ విల్ హెల్ప్ యూ ఇన్ రిగార్డ్ టు అర్బనైజేషన్ ఆర్ యూ కెన్ సే సస్టైనబుల్ అర్బనైజేషన్కి ఈ వాటర్ బాడీస్ యొక్క ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఏంటి. And also that is not the only one importance of ensuring or preserving or protecting, conserving these urban water bodies, but also what is the role of these urban water bodies in regard to environmental conservation. So this essay is basically asking you to understand or explore the relation between the importance of urban water bodies and its relation to sustainable urban development and environmental conservation. So ఈ ఎస్సేని మీరు 2 aspectsలో డివైడ్ చేయొచ్చు. దట్ ఈస్ ఫస్ట్ ఆస్పెక్ట్ ఇస్ రిలేషన్ బిట్వీన్ అర్బన్ వాటర్ బాడీస్ అండ్ సస్టైనబుల్ అర్బనైజేషన్. సెకండ్ ఆస్పెక్ట్ ఆఫ్ ది ఎస్సే ఇస్ అర్బన్ వాటర్ బాడీస్ అండ్ దేర్ రిలేషన్ టు ఎన్విరాన్మెంటల్ కన్జర్వేషన్. If at all they could have, even if they have given you one aspect, that is discuss the dynamics between urban water bodies and sustainable urbanization, ala single ga adigina kuda you should talk about this environmental conservation, because sustainable urbanization is a comprehensive concept under which all these environmental conservation, other aspects do come in your sustainable urbanization. So first manam అసలు అర్బన్ వాటర్ బాడీస్ అంటే ఏంటి, దాంట్లో మనకి వాట్ ఈస్ ద ఇంపార్టెన్స్ ఆఫ్ దీస్ అర్బన్ వాటర్ బాడీస్ అనేది చూద్దాం. దెన్ వీ విల్ సీ ఇట్స్ రిలేషన్ టు సస్టైనబుల్ అర్బనైజేషన్. అసలు అర్బనైజేషన్ అంటే ఏంటి, సస్టైనబుల్ అర్బనైజేషన్ అంటే ఏంటి, ఇది ఫస్ట్ అర్థం చేసుకుందాం. దాంట్లో ఇంకొక ఆస్పెక్ట్ ఏంటి అంటే అర్బన్ వాటర్ బాడీస్, దానికి ఉన్న how they are important to environmental conservation. So these are the major aspects of this essay. We'll try to understand this. So introduction, oka quote toni gaani edana anecdote toni gaani you can start. So for example, as global urbanization accelerates, cities around the world face mounting challenges in balancing development with environmental sustainability. So ఈ urbanization అనే ప్రాసెస్ in that process we are seeing environmental degradation అనేది చూస్తున్నాం. సో ఈ ఆస్పెక్ట్లో we will try to understand this essay. And specific to Telangana, we need to understand this aspect because in Telangana, urbanization is much higher than the country's urbanization. Country's urbanization is anywhere around 36-38% ఉంది. But Telangana urbanization, it is around 50% as of now. As of now it is around 48.6% is the urbanization in Telangana. But by 2025, next year, we will see around 50% of urbanization. That is somewhere around 12 to 15% higher than the India's urbanization. So in that aspect, we need to understand, as Telangana is moving more towards the urbanization process, around 50% of its population are going to live in cities, the major cities. So in that context, you need to understand the importance of these urban water bodies. So you can take some quotes like, the truth is the natural world is changing and we are totally dependent on the world. It provides our food, water, air. It is the most precious thing we have and we need to defend it. So you know that all your food and air, everything is coming from this nature. So in that context, you need to understand the importance of urban water bodies. And then let's see the importance of urban water bodies. So importance of urban water bodies, first importance is how urban water bodies help in supply of water and groundwater recharges. For example, most of the cities, Hyderabad gani, Warangal gani, Karimnagar gani, any city if you take, not just in Telangana but across India, if you take Bhopal, it has a lake in midst of it which provides water supply. We also have lakes, water bodies which provide the drinking water, and most of the cities also, for them the water gets from these urban water bodies. So in that context, you need to understand how these urban water bodies are the primary sources for your drinking water. So understand that if you conserve them, protect them, preserve them, only then the drinking water aspects can be addressed in the cities. Apart from that, if you conserve these urban water bodies, it also helps in regard to recharging your groundwater. Already you know, because of excessive usage of groundwater by borewells and other ways, we are depleting the groundwater. So in that context, in the context of depleting groundwater, how to ensure that they remain sustainable for the future generations. To ensure that they remain sustainable for the future generations, you need to preserve and protect urban water bodies. When you protect them, save them from encroachments, then only the water can be preserved, and these urban water bodies will act as a recharging centers. They become the recharging centers for the depleting groundwater. So this is the first importance. They are the major source for our drinking water and also source for recharging of groundwater. So in this aspect, you know that in Telangana especially, our irrigation is, our farmers are dependent for their water needs on groundwater. So 60% of the irrigation is happening through groundwater, and 80% in India, the drinking water is taken care by this groundwater. So in that aspect, you need to understand the importance of groundwater. So already when you look at these statistics, that is 60% of your irrigation is dependent on groundwater, 80% of drinking water across India is dependent on groundwater. In that aspect, you understand the importance of groundwater. But how to ensure that this groundwater is conserved and preserved, how to make sure that these bore wells do not get dried up, the only solution is to protect the urban water bodies and other water bodies. When you protect them, then only we can ensure groundwater recharging and also water supply to the cities. Next importance, if you see, importance of urban water bodies for flood mitigation and addressing climate change. See, already you know that whenever monsoon hits these cities, almost all the cities in today's time, whether you take Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Delhi, in recent time you have seen Vijayawada, etc., are submerged in these flood waters. In 2015-16 you have seen Chennai floods, later you have seen Bangalore floods. Regularly floods are a feature of Hyderabad. In recent times news are coming that the rich villas are getting flooded because of these urban floods, and in Delhi it is a common feature, and recently Vijayawada also has seen this urban floods issue. So in that context, why this flooding is happening in these urban areas? If you try to understand the cause of these urban floods, it points to this one aspect, that is urban local bodies, the neglect that we have shown to this urban water bodies, the encroachments, the non-maintenance, encroachment, neglect towards these urban local bodies has eventually led to this disaster called floods. So flood is a disaster, and almost all the cities in today's country and today's world and India, we are seeing this problem of flooding of cities. Whenever a small rain falls for say half an hour, our roads are flooded, traffic gets congested, and people starts facing problems. Why? Because we have neglected, we have encroached, we have occupied, we didn't maintain them. That is why this is leading to flooding. Earlier, whenever any water comes, they used to enter these urban water bodies, and these urban water bodies used to work as sponges. These urban water bodies work as a sponge. All the water will be absorbed by these water bodies. When they get absorbed by these urban water bodies, it leads to issue of flood mitigation. So you will not have floods. Now if you are seeing floods in cities, why it is happening? Because you have neglected, you have almost 60% of the major urban water bodies have disappeared across India, and remaining urban water bodies either got encroached or neglected and got polluted. So this is leading to the problem of floods in the city. So understand the relation between the protection, preservation, conservation of urban water bodies in regard to flood mitigation. That is the first aspect. If you look at the second aspect, how it can ensure climate resilience, you see in India and across world there is this problem called urban heat islands. So in India and world, all the cities are facing this issue called urban heat islands, that they experience temperatures higher than the surrounding areas, leading to many issues like heat waves, etc. during summer. So to understand and to address this problem of urban heat island and to face the problem of climate resilience, you need to protect the urban water bodies. So in that aspect also, you need to understand the importance of urban water bodies. So this is the second importance of urban water bodies. Now try to understand the importance of urban water bodies for environment. See, almost all the urban water bodies, they are the wetlands. Wetlands promotes biodiversity, and you know that biodiversity is important for your economy, for your health, for other issues. So biodiversity, when you have water bodies, you will see that birds come there, you will promote other life, etc. in these water bodies. So when you have this urban water bodies, biodiversity can be protected, promoted, and this eventually this biodiversity helps in preservation or protection of food chains, and these food chains are important for your farming, ensuring food security. So understand the relation between urban water bodies and their protection and promotion of biodiversity, and the importance of biodiversity for humanity and other aspects. So in regard to that also, urban water bodies are helpful. Then urban cooling and climate control, already we have seen this aspect of urban heat island. Then the other importance of urban water bodies is these urban water bodies, if you take for example, assume that the 𝗬𝗏𝗧 𝗨 tank bund, assume that you have improved the maintenance and the health of this 𝗬𝗏𝗧. Don't you think that it promotes the quality of life of the people in the Hyderabad? It promotes the aesthetic sense in Hyderabad. Now of course if you go there, you will see smell coming from that lake, but assume that if it becomes clean, don't you think it promotes the overall aesthetic sense of Hyderabad? Don't you think people will visit that for its beauty, for its purity, etc.? So when you maintain these urban water bodies, automatically they promote or they enhance the aesthetic sense of cities. So that is also one important aspect of urban water bodies, and eventually their importance in your cultural and historical significance. You know, water bodies have played role in our culture, in our history. They have a very important role. So in that aspect also, you need to write a point in regard to how they are important in regard to our maintenance of culture and heritage. Then what are the challenges being faced by these urban water bodies? So we have till now understood how urban water bodies help us in regard to sustainable urbanization and environmental conservation, whether it is climate change, biodiversity, and other issues, and in regard to your sustainable development, okay, flooding, etc. You understood this aspect. So now try to understand what are the challenges in regard to protecting and preserving these urban water bodies. So we have till now we have understood their importance in regard to sustainable urbanization and environmental conservation. Let's understand what are the challenges that are being faced by these urban water bodies. So challenges faced by urban water bodies in India. Basic challenge is encroachment and urbanization. See, let's discuss the urbanization aspect first, and then we will see encroachment aspect. Cities across country are urbanizing. Hyderabad is urbanizing, and other cities in Telangana are also getting urbanized. But the problem with urbanization in India is that we are not doing it in a planned way. Urbanization is not happening in a planned way, in a regulated way. So most of the urbanization is unplanned, unregulated. So this is the major problem, unplanned, unregulated urbanization, which is leading to rise of slums, unplanned cities, unplanned housing, etc. So if you have a planned urbanization, then we could have ensured that there is a proper plan for the water to go and store in the urban water bodies. We could have ensured that there are enough spaces, green spaces in the city, which will also help you in regard to maintenance of urban water bodies. But because of this unplanned, unregulated urbanization, it is eventually creating problems for the maintenance of urban water bodies. Apart from this first aspect, the issue of encroachments not just in Telangana but across all the cities of India, there is encroachment that is happening in the urban water bodies. You see how the lakes have been covered by the artificial soil, sand, etc., leading to the encroachment of these water bodies. That is the reason why the recent government has started taking steps in regard to removing these encroachments in these urban water bodies. So in that context, you need to understand how these encroachments of water bodies is leading to the problem of urban water bodies. So first problem in regard to preserving, protecting urban water bodies is the encroachment and unplanned, unregulated urbanization. So second aspect of this challenge to the urban water bodies చూద్దాం. First aspect చూసాం మనం, it is the unplanned, unregulated urbanization and the encroachments. So second aspect చూస్తే pollution and waste dumping. So in regard to challenges that are being faced by these urban water bodies, you see there's increased pollution and dumping. Wherever you see urban water bodies in cities, you see there is dumping that is happens whenever no one sees, people will go there. This construction dumping or other dumping, they'll just put all the waste into these water bodies. And also apart from that, recent studies by different organizations have said that around 60% of these urban water bodies have heavily got polluted with your pharma waste and other waste. So even there are issues where the sewage is gets dumped into these water bodies. Pharma waste, industrial waste gets dumped into these urban water bodies. So this is also one major issue in regard to what is happening in the challenge of urban water bodies. How these urban water bodies are neglected or not maintained, because of which there's increased pollution in this urban water bodies. You can just look at the Hussain Sagar to understand the problem of pollution of these urban water bodies and waste dumping. Next challenge, if you see, neglect and lack of maintenance. Because of neglect of these water bodies, siltation of these water bodies increase. When this siltation increases, their ability to recharge the rainwater and ability to absorb the rainwater and recharge the groundwater reduces. See, when you don't maintain, when you neglect these water bodies and don't maintain or take proper care of these water bodies, it eventually leads to this problem of flooding in the cities, because these water bodies which were earlier acting as sponges will stop acting as sponges, and then they'll not take the incoming rainwater. So if they stop taking this rainwater, what happens? So this rainwater will not be absorbed. If it stops absorbing these rainwater, eventually it creates the problem of recharging the groundwater. So because of this, urban flooding increases. So when you don't, whether it is government or the municipal administration, when they don't take proper care of these urban water bodies and take siltation and regular maintenance works of these, addressing the channels that recharge or that go into this urban water bodies, then it eventually leads to the death of these urban water bodies. So neglect and lack of maintenance is one major issue. So let's see some of the examples of successful water body restoration. When you see, many cities have helped in regard to overcoming these challenges and helped in addressing these or successful addressing these issues. For example, if you take in Telangana, we are taking special mechanisms or special steps in regard to saving these water bodies. It is first is Mission Kakatiya. Mission Kakatiya is also a measure to protect the water bodies both in your urban areas and in local rural areas also. We are trying to protect this. In Bengaluru also, earlier actually Bengaluru is called City of Lakes, but because of neglect, because of unregulated urbanization, these lakes got polluted, lakes got encroached in this Bengaluru. Now there are different mechanisms that are being taken by this Bengaluru municipal organization, which is protecting the water bodies in the city of Bangalore. And this third one is China's Sponge City program. This is an international example of how China in its major cities is using this Sponge City program to ensure the sustenance of these cities and sustainable urbanization of these cities. So you need to talk about this Sponge City program of China in regard to maintenance of these urban water bodies. And now let's see some of the policy measures and governance measures in regard to protection and maintenance of these urban water bodies or in general water bodies. See, in India, we have started with lake conservation programs. We have started with wetlands conservation. We became part of Ramsar conservation, putting our wetlands under Ramsar Convention, thereby taking steps to protect these urban water bodies. So different mechanisms were brought in. For example, even Amrut also to an extent helps in regard to this preservation, conservation of water bodies in the cities. See, even wetlands conservation rules 2017 also helps in regard to the protection and preservation of urban water bodies. In regard to Telangana, you can talk about recent steps being taken by Hydra, how it is trying to help protect and conserve these urban water bodies. So what are the legal mechanisms? What are the policy mechanisms? What are the programs in regard to protecting these urban water bodies? So you need to talk about all these in regard to preserving the urban water bodies, and then finally talk about how these protection of urban water bodies eventually will lead to sustainable urbanization and environmental protection. And we end this essay with a quote by saying that Mahatma Gandhi famously said that earth provides enough to satisfy every man's needs, but not everyone or anyone's greed. So in that context, if you don't address this problem of greed of people, then it eventually leads to encroachments, pollution, dumping of waste, etc. of these urban water bodies, eventually creating problems to the residents of urban cities, eventually leading to flooding, depletion of groundwater, creating water issues, water shortages, etc., eventually leading to the problem of unsustainable development or unsustainable urbanization. So if urbanization, the process of people migrating from rural areas to urban areas, has to be sustainable, and if you want to really maintain cities and give them in a good condition to the future generations, first step is to protect and preserve the urban water bodies. When you do this, then it eventually leads to sustainable urbanization. And for that, you need to take the steps that we have discussed till now. So understand the problem of urban water bodies or the wetlands in the city, and how the maintenance, preservation, conservation of these urban water bodies is important for the urbanization, the process of urbanization, the process of development, even the process of economic growth, even in the process of environmental conservation. So with this, we are ending the second example of social issues and contemporary social issues and social challenges. In our next video, we will see about the economic growth and social justice. We will see two more examples or two more essays in that aspect of economic growth and social justice. So for now, we'll end this session here. Thank you.